Hello, everybody. I hope everybody's doing good. Okay. All right. So, for our drawing today, I got pencils, um, more than one pencil, a good eraser we're going to use. I like this exercise we're going to do today. Well, we know, and let's go over the materials. We got the paper, either 8.5 inches by 11 or 9 inches by 12. Two pencils. I got a few more. Well sharpened pencil sharpener or electric one. And as you can see, my pencils have a good eraser. So the fact of having more than one pencil is so you um, can work inspired, right? And don't take much time sharpening the pencil constantly. And if something happens to your pencil, you have another one, right? Okay, so today we're, as the title says, reflection on water. I know we've done this in watercolor, um, but today we're gonna do it in pencil, and it's gonna be a very good drawing, uh, and it's gonna be done very with a few steps. Basically, I don't want to say simple, but it's a few steps, and it looks amazing, and it follows the the practice we've done if you have painted with me in watercolors. But yeah, so we'll have the landscape line up here halfway through the pencil paper, and then it reflects on the water. You know what the water is. You will know which one is the water, and which one is the real. I'm sorry, the water reflection, and which one is the real actual view of the landscape. And yeah, excited. Make sure you got this materials now. We're gonna start. Okay. So let's get started. We're gonna think of our paper halfway through on the long way. Um, if you are going to, well, I want you to use your eyes, to notice where half of the paper is and draw a line. Not too dark, but I gotta draw it dark so you can see it on the camera. Um, but if you're gonna fold the paper to make sure exactly you get half of it, don't fold the entire paper, you know. Usually when we fold a paper like that, we're gonna cut it, or you're gonna do something that the fold doesn't affect. But if you fold the entire paper, it will affect your drawing because it will be either impossible or really hard to bring the paper back to the way it was. So you could pinch the corner, the points where it folds like here, like go like that, and just maybe get an idea of where half of it is by looking here and here. But do not fold the entire length if we're not gonna do something that requires to actually use that fold. um, okay. Great. So we drew a line halfway through. This is winter, so I'm gonna draw. We're gonna use a lot of shading with our pencil. Okay, so I'm gonna draw um, another. Try to see if it's really halfway through. You're good. You know. Um, if you, I'm gonna make like a little space in between, and that's where the land, the water is at the bottom and the land is on the top. But I'm gonna make another line to make this area thicker, like where the actual snow or actual land is. So What I'm trying to say is like this strip now that you see is where is snow, right? And the background could be the sky. So it'll make sense. So this is mostly going to be white and the water down here. Okay. So why don't we will shade as we go, um, the sky and the water, and whatever we do up here in the real in the landscape, it will get reflected in the water. So again, under this line is all water. It's going to look like a mirror reflecting what's up here. And what we'll do up here is the real nature landscape. Okay. I'm going to emphasize that we're going to put more detail on the things above, I mean, in the landscape, and the reflection will be more um, less detail and more broader, but the reflection will still be there. Okay. So let's get started. And we're going to use the eraser, so make sure you're going to have a good eraser on your pencil. So we're going to start by creating a bunch of pine trees. Okay. A bunch of pine trees. And you're going to follow me here, because if I make small ones, right, what did we learn? Well, they could be growing, but in this case, it's because they're far away. Okay. And there may be a mountain back here, but it's shaded. So why don't we do that first? A few mountains here. So maybe a mountain here and a mountain here and a mountain here. And I'm going to shade it. And I'm going to use very lightly. Don't do this too dark, okay? This is very lightly. And I'm going to use my finger to shade. And make sure this all gets like this, right? I'm going to define by erasing the edge of what I just shaded. You see? There's going to be pine trees in front of this, so that's why I did not continue the mountains. But if you wish to, you could do it. Let's do it. Let's just do it. But you see how I left this length down here still white, because that's where snow is. And we shade that, right? I hope you can see that. And then I'm going to erase to define better the outline. And I'm going to erase down here too, where my snow is going to be. Clean it a little better, you see. Perfect. You see all the mountains now. But most of them will be covered. All right, let's cover them with some pine trees. We've done pine trees in the past where we do the trunk and build upon it. We'll say that for the big ones. Most of the far away little ones, we'll do them with the side of our pencil too. But building up like this. Okay, see that? So in other ways, what I'm doing is this. This is in a bigger sense. I'm doing it smaller, like a Christmas tree, but making sure that when I go side by side, the bottom is always thicker. Sorry. The bottom is always thicker, this part. The top is thinner, and I go up as a very thin triangle cone. Okay. So this time my camera will not focus if I bring the paper up to the camera, and I did that on purpose because I wanted to focus always down here. So I'm not going to be bringing the paper up because it will not focus, as you could see just now. But these are small ones, you see? So let's do a bunch, different sizes, but down here in this length. And there's going to be bigger ones here, but this is just means that they're far back here. And they don't have to be lined up one perfectly next to the other. Um, you see them far away? Maybe some on this side. And now, just for my, we did some on either side. I'm gonna go and make big ones, and the big ones are gonna be like right about here, not exactly in the middle, a little bit to the left. So I'm gonna do the trunk. And instead of doing the branches and building them, let's build the tree. You see that? And it's gonna be a little, it's gonna look a little bit empty. Okay. I mean, empty some of the branches, but we're just gonna build them by darkening the inside. I have talked about this before. So as you can see the trunk still and some of the branches, but all you have to do is not everywhere, but in some areas, just build darkness in that. And that builds volume, you see, and kind of recreates. And that's a good one. We're gonna do a couple of this, and make sure you don't go all the way down to this line. Remember all this path we left white here. Let me emphasize that. Darkening the mountains a little more. All this, sorry, all this path where the trees are on top of is snow. So don't go all the way down to the line because they're actually coming from the snow. Okay. Some more trees, maybe some thinner. So one, one. I'm just doing the trunk and building upon it. I'm gonna switch pencils in a second so I could get thinner lines. But this is a thicker tree. You see how it's kind of wider? Well, maybe this one is gonna be thinner, more narrow, more control. Okay, you see that? So we'll do a few. Once we have a few of these, we'll do more in between them to create more density. The key here is when I say the word organic, I mean just random nature effect. Uh, come on. I think this will be good. One more trunk that I did here that I could keep narrow. We could keep narrow, but you see how I use the side of my pencil. I built on live, and you could even do like the little ones there without having to draw the trunk. Maybe one is an empty, uh, more of a stick, like look, like you can see more of the trunk, you know. I'm gonna start defining this line down here more darker, the edge, so and make it edgy, um, not edgy, but random at zigzagging, like if you see, I'm making it dark the line, and not straight, so it creates the belief. There you go. That there's no falls, not in a straight line. It's like it's all edgy and jaggedy, and also um, on the snow up here. So maybe some of the mountains here in some spots are darker. Just, but when you darken this, just barely, um, it's very important when we shade with pencil, and we have done many exercises by now. You can see the videos here. You control the density of the tone. What is dark, what is more lighter. Um, you could with 3 or 4 tones, you could do a variety of um, densities of them. Okay, so let's build some more, and if we do them lightly, if I just do the same type of pine trees that we did here but lighter, right, we already have learned that that means they are farther away. So I'm going to do some of those over here, maybe taller as they go far and in between. Right. Maybe there's some tallers here. Let's, how we have this group here that's all tall. Maybe there's a few one here. Sorry, I just want to break the pattern that they're all only to the um, okay. I'm going very randomly now. These are some, they look very sketchy, um, not that well defined, but what I'm going to do is in some parts here, I'm going to make darker chunks and darker spots. And what I mean by that is that there's so much groups of trees, let's say, that you just see a patch of darkness. So sometimes we don't see things, but we see the density they cause when they're clumped up together. Does that looks like like a path? If I tilt the paper a little to my to my left like that, is so the light doesn't shine, because it's shining, the light is shining here. So when I, you see, move it, but it's not about focusing, it's about so you can see the darkness. But these are very random lines, and the viewer's eye will complete the perception that what we see is the trees, right? Okay, so I'm gonna now shade the sky, and then we're gonna work with the reflection and wrap it up. Okay, it's a very simple drawing, you see, and the emphasis will be in the snow. You'll see how this path here, this is why I didn't want you to touch too much of this path here, because the trees are on top of the snow, and everything you'll see how it's going to start getting more, a little more grayish or grayish. So I'm going to shade the sky, but it's not all um, equal. Okay, so look how I did this corner here, right? I'm going to use my finger in a moment to shade it, and then a little path here too, thicker over here and coming cleaner, thinner. So when you really look at it, there's a white space here, right? And there's a white space here. So now I'm gonna go with my finger. And what this does is soften the pencil we just put in, makes it very softer. So it is shading, and it's blending, meaning the blending from the paper, from the white of the paper to the gray of the pencil is very subtle. And that's what we want. Same thing here with this path. If something becomes too drastic, you could subtle it again, adding a little extra graphite. So if you see me adding graphite, is to just be a little more gentle with my blending. Your finger is dirty, remember? If I were to erase like a little more, I need more white here, you could do that and go back. See? If it becomes too dark. You see how we keep playing with that area? And darken maybe the parts where the gray is deeper, is darker. So in this patch, for example, I know you can see it. I know you can see it in the reflection. Sorry. I know you can see some white here. There's white here. There's white here, and there's white down here. So basically, we made two straight lines thick. This patch and this patch. I'm just putting more pencil right about in the middle. Okay. Let's work with this. Let's work with this for now. I feel that it could still be a little more subtle, but let's just work with this. But you can see the white. It's almost like aureola, right? The lights in the sky. So now we gray, not the snow. Remember, we're gonna gray down here where the water is, but not that patch where I said snow was. Okay. Soften this too. Darken it as it comes closer to the snow, just a little bit. Remember the outline. You see how the whiteness of the snow, where the pine trees are coming from, gets emphasized because what's around it now is darker. So again, I'm going darker and darker as I move my pencil in the water here at the beginning, building that darkness to blend it in, to blend it in, and then go down here and leave some white. So we're gonna leave some white here, and you'll see what I'm gonna do at the bottom in a moment, okay? So let's see how this looks. The white of the, there you go, you see? Does that make sense now? How the trees are coming from this patch of white that we actually um, made sure that the line wasn't straight at the bottom as we started, but made it edgy. You see down here is a little edgy and there's pointy parts as if it's randomly the snow touching the water. Okay. I should have left that tree the way it was. You see, you gotta sometimes the first time we do something is like the best way. But okay, so the bottom. You see how we shaded here, but then left white. So now we're gonna start from the bottom down here, going up. Okay, but I want you to leave a patch of white in between this. So I'm gonna go now from the bottom up, the bottom being darker. Closer to the edge at the bottom, darker. And we're gonna use our finger again to shade up, to shade going up. So bear with me here. And it's gonna kind of come up to, I have something on my table that's creating some patterns here, you see? But anyway, let's start shading. Ah. I'm gonna darken it even more. I want the bottom, the actual bottom here, dark. Okay, you see how dark I'm making it? The bottom especially. Hmm. And you can erase, if you need more white, you could erase the area you want it white. And just make sure you bring the finger back, blending at the edge of where you erased. So it's not too sharp, the erasure. So you see how there's a line here? You could bring your finger and blend that in. So now you can see how the bottom could even be darker. Hold on. Okay. So now what we're going to do, we have the trees up here. We have the water down here. What we're going to do is we're going to as you can see the trees here, they're very defined. No, well, they're not very defined, sorry, but you can see the branches and the trees. When we draw them down here, they're just going to be a more of a dark mass, like a bulk of black, not black, but like darker, less defined. So, and you got to keep the same. This is like an exercise. You got to keep the same distance for this project. So, for example, if this tree here is the tallest one, when I make the reflection, right, it will be the longest one down here reflected. So you could also replicate the same length. So you could, but I'm gonna go by eye. So I'm gonna go down here exactly under it, and maybe it's kind of like about here its length. The next one stops about here. You don't have to go too dark when you checking where do they go, but make sure you do them right on the each one right under the other. You see how the length of these lines are the same length of these ones up here. The only thing is that this mass of pine trees, right down here, what I meant to say is they are just a dark, less defined. The whole thing here is going to be like a dark, especially this part of the drawing. They also go down as a triangle, as a pine tree. Build your the darkness. Build it like go dark with your pencil, but make another layer on top. So I'll show you what I mean by that. What I mean is if you have, where's my paper? If you're gonna darken something, instead of going once and making it all dark, right? Don't do that. You're shutting the situation there. Try to darken, right? Darken on top. This is what I mean by layers. The third one, look, darken. This one, you see. So build upon it. And match the same length of the thing you drew above. Switch pencils or sharpen your pencil. So I'm going to keep building, you see, by adding darkness in this area. And you see how they get together as a mass? You see how down here it's not as defined as up here? So it's like this whole mass of like just something dark. Okay. You see, we are replicating what's above it down, but when we do it down here, I'm gonna say this again. This is why I wanted this so dark at the edge. We're basically creating more of a dark mass rather than detail branches, you know. So I'm pointing out here the you know the pole aspect of the pine trees, yes, but then look, I'm adding like a darker mass of just graphite, just pencil. You see, I'm not leaving any white space down here because it's like a big mass of darkness at the edge of the where the snow here it is. If that does that make sense? So let's pull this back a little. Um, I'm gonna go again, darken this even more. Okay, sharpen your pencil so you get more of the side of the pencil. I'm bringing this up, the darkness of the water. It's nice that the water obviously will be darker than the sky. So I'm bringing this grade up a little more. I'm going to use my finger in a moment, but I got to really darken this at the bottom even more, right here, right about here. So I'm switching into pencils that have been sharpened to get a little more of that graphite. Okay, there you go. You'll see me using my pencil my finger in a moment. But right now I'm just adding graphite, especially down here at the bottom. At the edge of the of the paper. If something comes in an angle like this, you see, like this, then on the reflection, it will be like that. You see, from this corner down, this way in, then from this corner up, this way in. It's just it's just like a mirror image. So you gotta, here's my finger on this blending in, but I still left white like about in the middle. And the water is darker. This I wish I could, it's pretty dark and I want to really make it even darker, this part here. You get the idea. Oops, I just want more of the. What do you guys think? So you can pause. This is a video. I think it was a few steps, but it's simple and from far away. Dust looks, you know, just as what we wanted. Pine trees. Basically the reality of the landscape is up here and the sky, obviously, but here. And then this down here is the reflection, which is darker and less defined. Here's this mark here is just a finger, so just be careful to not leave marks that are so obviously, you know. Something you can do with your eraser, if you wish, is erase some little spots. I don't know. It could be like snow falling. I'm not sure. If you erase something up here, let's say, for example, here, as if it's the sun or the moon. You see that? Then I have to put it down here, same distance. Okay. See that? That's up to you if you want to do the moon reflection. You don't have to do it. But just to recap on what we did, and look, your fingers will be dirty because of all the shading we've done. We have our paper. We drew a line to define where the middle of the paper was, lengthwise, right? Dividing the paper from top and bottom horizontally. Then we make that line a little thicker to create a space for the snow. So this line here now had another line up here to create a space where the snow is, where the trees grow from, and where the water touches the edge, right? And we left that untouched. Then we started creating pine trees, some tall. The big ones, tall ones, and more defined, we did the trunk and did the branches out, right? Different sizes, maybe a tall one up here to balance things out. But most of them are like, you know, this size, and some of them are lighter over here to put them far away, right? And then we shaded the sky, not evenly, right? This corner, we emphasized it, and then like a patch here, like going diagonally, like that. You can see. I'll show you. Like there's a patch here of shading gray, and then the corner here. Right, you see the sky. Then we made sure that. Oh, we created the mountains too. You could define the mountains a little more. But most of the mountains, like I said, were going to be covered by the trees. Okay. So here, the bottom line here that touches the water, I made this really dark. And that created the whiteness of the snow here to be emphasized. So then we shaded the water, right? Dark. Left a patch here of white. Shaded the bottom really dark. This bottom, I even feel like I could make it even darker. We want to really make this water dark here at the edge. Anyway, and then we started to copy the reflection from above down here in the water of what the pine trees look like. The difference is that the one down here is more of a darkening patch, you see, rather than me building the trees. I'm just creating mass of shading black. Okay, but I make sure that you see if something is up here like this, then down here is the same. Up here, down here. Okay, it's a mirror. So when you put it and you flip it like the side, what's on one side, it's on the other side. The difference is in the water. It's a mass of darkness. You see, rather than trees that are clearly defined. And that makes it a little more that reflection is not perfect. Okay, and then I erase a little spot here, highlighting the moon, and I have to match it with the same distance, right, from here to the center, from the center to here, and do it on both ends. It's a mirror reflection. So this is our drawing for today. It's a video. You could pause it, go back, watch it again, do this drawing again, frame it on a dark frame. Will be very nicely emphasized. I'm going to tilt it to the left so there's not much of a reflection here. You see how it reflects the light, but so that's why I do this, so you can see it a little better. I'm going to sign it in a moment and we're done. This is like a lake in the forest landscape out reflection. See you on the next one. Stay safe.